Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you are well. So in today's video, I thought I would take the time to sit down and talk about why I stopped making makeup videos, kind of why I disappeared off YouTube for so long. A few of you have asked me about this and I've kind of danced around the issue for a number of reasons really. Some of it's just uncomfortable to talk about. Some of it is, it's hard to get your point across in a quick YouTube video or your feelings across. And initially the plan was, right, I'll have a break off YouTube, maybe like 6 weeks. I'll go away and then I'll come back and I'll make completely new content. And everyone will forget about the makeup stuff. But that's not what happened at all. First of all, I ended up disappearing for like a year. And then also, I kind of feel like it's still an elephant in the room. So I just feel like if I talk about it, we will get it out there and move on. I also find these videos a little bit cringy, which is probably another reason why I've not talked about it, but let's just do it and then we can move on. So I've thought about how I could make this video so many times and how I want to present my thoughts. And honestly, I could talk about this for hours. The beauty industry, how it's grown, the amount of releases, the money involved, the standards of beauty as you get older. Honestly, social media, I could talk about this for hours, but no one's got time for that. So I'm going to try and keep my points relatively short. And then if you want me to clarify anything, I'm more than happy to chat with you in the comments. Okay, so starting off with the big guns, so to speak. One of the reasons I stopped making YouTube makeup videos is I never wanted to be a makeup YouTuber. I never wanted to be a beauty guru, and I never even wanted to be a makeup artist. So I got into makeup. I've always enjoyed makeup, as most women do, but I really got into makeup in a big way a couple of years ago now. And actually, at the time, I was flicking through Instagram and I kept finding these pictures of these women that looked beautiful with this amazing, glamorous, over-the-top makeup, and it made me feel a little bit crap about myself, to be honest. Probably I was feeling crap about myself for other reasons as well. I'd gained a little bit of weight, which I was uncomfortable about. My friends were all off having babies, which is just what happens in your 30s. I'd recently had a relationship breakdown, which it was all amicable, but it's still pretty rubbish. So I probably was not in the best space anyway. And then to see all these images and think, gosh, I don't look anything like that. I was pretty susceptible, I would say. So I knew at the time that these pictures that I was looking at were great lighting, great camera, possibly a photographer, probably Photoshop, and great makeup. And I thought, well, all the other things aside, the one thing I can change today is to improve my makeup skills. And actually, it will give me something to do on an evening if I'm not, going out or doing anything. I can practice and, maybe it'd be something that I could actually enjoy. So from that, I did what most people do. At the time, I had a makeup collection that was probably like fit in a bag this size. I think all of it was MAC. I never really ventured far from the MAC counter, to be honest, and I didn't know all that much about makeup. So I did what most people do. I Googled best eyeshadow palettes, best makeup, I turned to Google, and Google invariably with that sort of thing leads you to YouTube videos. And then I discovered the beauty community. Before that point, I thought all that was on YouTube was people singing, music videos and cat videos. Like, I had no idea that this world of beauty existed. And let me tell you, I fell down that rabbit hole hard. And I loved it. I was so enthused about it. I would watch a video of a tutorial and then I would go out and I'd buy the palette. I'd come home, I'd practice it. I would be able to create something that I never would have dreamed of being able to do. It was, looking back, it was probably pretty shoddy, but I was proud of it at the time. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. As well, I was buying because I didn't want to waste any money and I was quite inexperienced at makeup. I didn't know if I liked warm tones, cool tones, etc. So it was really good to be able to go and buy a drugstore palette, especially like when I discovered the world of dupes. I thought, well, I can buy a dupe. If I discover that I like that, then I can potentially go and buy the better quality version. But around that time, I was so enthused. I was playing with makeup all the time. I was just blown away by all these different things and really having fun. And I would ring my friends, who I love dearly, by the way. This is nothing to do with my friends. I would ring them. I'd be like, oh, I bought this makeup and da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was so excited. And they'd be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm really pleased for you. Yeah, so I'm just researching breast pumps at the moment. Our worlds were just so far apart. And I really wanted to find other people who were excited about makeup in the same way I was. And I remember thinking, well, YouTube's a social media, and why I've got a camera hanging around, why don't I make videos? And then I can chat with people who are equally excited about it. And that is as much thought as I put into the process. I had not thought through doing YouTube at all. Not at all. And honestly, it's been great. I really enjoy this. I love speaking to people all around the world with all different opinions of all different ages. It is some of the most fun ever. But as I say, I never wanted to be a makeup YouTuber. But once you start making YouTube videos, you do I don't care what anyone says. If you're making YouTube videos, you want people to watch them. No one wants to watch a video that no one wants to make a video that no one wants to watch. So I realized that the more dramatic the makeup, the more these videos seem to get. And at the time I was making tutorial videos, which I was always a little bit uncomfortable about, but people would ask me to make them. And I just thought, well, surely there's got to be other people like me who want to be able to create something effective but simple. But what I found was I really felt that the algorithm favored that more dramatic, over-the-top makeup. So as time went on, I created more dramatic, over-the-top makeup, even though that's not what I wear ever. And I'm not saying that I'm not making comment on anyone else, but the more dramatic my makeup got, the more like a caricature I felt of myself, because I just don't look like that at all day to day. And I was consuming loads of content, and I kind of felt like I got lost in the middle of it. I know that sounds like so dramatic. Oh, you got lost watching YouTube videos. But I was going down this road because I was watching all these videos and feeling that and felt like that's the sort of makeup that everyone should be doing in order to be young and trendy. And anyway, also I find myself shopping too much. I was buying so much makeup. I've talked about this in other videos. I was buying more makeup before I'd even had a chance to play with the stuff I'd just bought. It was out of hand. I was watching videos, and I was always looking for that next thing. You know, like when YouTubers make these videos, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody else. We're all just human doing our thing. When people make videos and they're like, this is life-changing. Oh my God, my face looks perfect. And I got totally lost in that. And I know that some of you guys too do as well. But looking back now, when you're watching a 19-year-old YouTuber, I honestly would recommend, when you're watching people, look up how old they are, because there's so many people that I thought were like late 20s that are 19, and they're like, oh, my skin looks perfect. Of course your skin looks perfect. You're 19. I didn't have any, little lines under my eyes at 19 either. And, I was just buying stuff all the time. Don't get me wrong, some stuff I've bought I absolutely loved, but no, you can't have 12 products that are life-changing every single week. You just can't. So anyway, I just felt like it was so fake. And then the more I did the dramatic makeup, the more I was watching like videos with lighting. And then I fell down this big hole of buying like loads of lights. I wanted like the perfect flawless thing. And I've bought ring lights, I've bought softbox, I bought a better camera, bought an expensive lens, all in a bid to try to look perfect. And the weird thing was that the more fakery I added, the more, you know, the bigger the makeup, the brighter the light, I started to realize that I was part of the problem. So the reason that I wanted to get into makeup, in part, was because I felt bad about myself. I felt bad about myself versus the ideas of what beauty is on social media and how we should look and how we should present ourselves. And I thought, by having all this lighting and, you know, setting up perfect environments to make your skin look utterly flawless, I am not doing my fellow viewers a favor. I am not helping them accept themselves. Makeup should be, in my personal opinion, fun, but it should also be about enhancing what you have, embracing the beauty you already have. Anyway, I could go down that road for a long time, but I just started to feel really uncomfortable with it, and I think that's now why I'm so passionate about doing stuff in natural light. Natural light can actually be incredibly flattering, but it also will not blur your skin in the way that artificial light, if you know what you're doing. And most of the time I didn't know what I was doing with it, so that's probably part of the problem. But, you know, I want you to be able to see that I've got a little lines here, or maybe catch here, or maybe catch an odd spot. I want you to be able to see that, because I'm in my mid-30s and it's okay for that to happen, because that is reality. Anyway, I'm going to leave that point there, but that is the reason that I'm so passionate about wearing makeup that I would actually wear out in the street rather than looking like some sort of caricature of myself. It's why I want to be doing videos in natural light, you know, and it being a little bit more real, or as real as it can be, because I want to promote reality and not something that is completely unachievable. Anyway, I'm rambling. So my next point is that I really started to feel like there were way too many releases. Now, part of that is because the makeup industry has just expanded at such a huge rate that, you know, there's loads and loads of different companies out there. When I was looking out there, you know, you'd got your department stores, so, you know, you always had your MAC and so on, but and your Estee Lauders, you know the classic brands that have been around forever. But in the drugstore, you'd only really got maybe 4 or 5 brands at tops, and now you've got rows and rows and rows of them. So part of the fact that there's too many releases is that there's so many companies, but equally, because makeup's become this big thing that people are so interested and invested in, there are now so many releases per company, and I just started to feel like they were pumping stuff out without any real thought about it. Not only that, because I've always been somebody who, I'll tell you the truth. If I think something's trash, I'll tell you that it's trash. If I don't like it, I will tell you I don't like it. I've never really been influenced or worried about whether I would get on a PR list or be taken off a PR list, because I have money to buy stuff. If I want to go and buy it, I can buy it. I'm not going to tell you that something is brilliant just because somebody gave me it for free. So because of that, so many of you would ask me to review stuff, and I was incredibly flattered because, you know, I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal person. But I mean, isn't that what YouTube was supposedly about, that it was a normal person talking about their opinions? But anyway, and I just felt that there was so much, and I would go out and buy stuff because people would ask me, because again, no one wants to make videos that no one wants to watch. So I thought, great, this is fine. I can buy this palette and I can review it. But there's also this weird thing going on YouTube. As a small YouTuber, if you can get hold of a product first, and you can be one of the first to get your video out there, you will be discovered by people who would never normally find you, because your video would be buried amongst everyone else's. So I started to think, how can anyone trust my opinion when I have played with this for a day? I think most of you will know, we've all bought foundations before, and you put it on and you think, oh my gosh, this looks gorgeous. 12 hours later, it looks like a hot mess, and you swear that you will never put that on your face again. Or you try something and it breaks you out and you think, I'm never using that again. You can't. I just started to feel like, where is the trust in these reviews? Not only that, people were asking me to do reviews, which, as I say, is incredibly flattering, but I became very aware of the influence that I had. I've always been a small YouTuber. I've never considered myself an influencer. But I realized that people were buying things on my recommendation, and then I started to take very seriously what I was saying and the influence I was having, because I didn't want to be recommending something that I wasn't 100% in love with. So yeah, it kind of made me uncomfortable. I always took that responsibility seriously, but I started to take it even more seriously, and I wanted to be able to really play with products before recommending them. And the rate of releases, I just couldn't keep up. Which brings me to my next point, in that I was just spending way too much money, and people I was speaking to were spending way too much money in order to keep up with the releases. It was inordinate amounts of money, and I started to think, I consider myself relatively fortunate. I have a decent job. I'm not rich by any means, but I could afford to waste money essentially on makeup and it not be a problem. But I was speaking to people in comments that were obviously couldn't afford to keep up with this, but felt like they needed to, because everyone on YouTube was doing it. I don't know why I'm doing this so much, and I was speaking to people that were getting into debt, and I was just like, this is crazy. Please stop. There is no concealer that's going to make you look 20 when you're 40. It just isn't. Please save your money, enjoy what you've got. And it just made me so uncomfortable, the money and just the pace of the industry. For me at that time, a low buy was my only option. And over the last, probably 2 years now, I have been using up the masses and masses of makeup that I bought, forcing myself to use up things I don't particularly like in certain cases. I have gifted an awful lot away. And now I am at a point where I'm really just bringing my collection right down and trying to focus on just using things that I really, really like. That means that, I'm not going to be able to do videos of reviews of everything, because I'm only going to buy something that I really want and need. In a lot of cases, I don't want to go and buy loads and loads and loads of stuff. This kind of brings me on to my last point, and I wanted to talk about this for so long and I kept quiet, and then a few people have talked about it since, so I feel like I can talk about it now. Cheers, Coco, that's really attractive. Anyway, so I used to do a lot of videos around a particular brand, and that is Makeup Revolution. I don't think their products are bad. I think at their price point, they offer really good value, but they are not my favourite products. But I felt like I'd backed myself into a corner because I'd done a lot of videos on Makeup Revolution. I'd gained a lot of people who watched me for reviews and tutorials on Makeup Revolution, and I felt like I'd just boxed myself in, and I started to feel really uncomfortable about the company ethos. This is just a personal thing. It's just my personal opinions. If you love them, that's absolutely fine. First of all, I think their demographic is definitely younger than me, although in obviously recent times they have addressed their older demographic a little bit by collaborating with Emily Knoll. But I feel that their target market is younger than me, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. But combined with the amount of releases they were putting out, with the fact that their target demographic is quite young, and on top of that there seems to be this feeling about having to collect everything that they release, I just started to feel really uncomfortable about it. Because, if their target demographic is teenagers and, they're dropping like 4 palettes a week, I noticed in some circumstances. And even if those palettes are £4 each, that's still £12 a week over a period of 10 weeks. That's £120. And, you know, £120 would buy you like 3, maybe even at least 3, if not more, high quality palettes. And you could just have like 2. You don't need to have all that stuff. So it just made me feel really uncomfortable. Also, I definitely was aware that they had a younger demographic when I made videos. If I said anything remotely bad about the products, I would get trolled to hell. And I just started to feel like if I didn't want to deal with the trolling, then I couldn't honestly review these products. Because I knew full well that those comments would come. I had threats of violence. I had a couple of death threats. Looking at the people that were making these comments, predominantly they were very young girls who probably didn't realize the gravitas of the things they were saying. But I just thought, for God's sake, why am I putting it up with this? It's bloody makeup. It washes off. Like, are we really that passionate about a brand or, you know, some powder that we want to threaten people because they disagree with us? I just kind of got to a point where I just thought, I don't want this anymore. Anyway, this video has gone on much longer than I intended it to. Hopefully this makes sense in terms of what it means for my YouTube channel. Right now, I'm not entirely sure. I think it will probably evolve. I may do some makeup content from time to time. I want to do some fashion content actually at some point. I am probably so much more into clothes than I am into makeup, so it's kind of weird that I've ended up talking about makeup so much on my channel. I want to talk about healthy habits, things I'm doing to kind of improve my life. You know, makeup is just such a small part of it, and hopefully you will still stay on the journey with me as it evolves. Hopefully this has made sense. Anyway, I am going to try and cut this video down so it's not so long, and I will see you in my next one, which I think is going to be my revised eyeshadow palette collection. I have got it down to, well, I've been trying to get it down to no more than 10. So I will see you in that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye now. Mwah.